So last night, Carol and I watched 3 films back to back. Luckily, I was the one facing the telly. I went skiing through Tyrac and I fell down an 80-foot cravat.
No.
Think about it. Thinking about it. I don't actually, you know what, strangely, I don't trust my hands. I always keep them at arm's length. And apparently,
there's another one coming, isn't there?
yeah. Apparently.
Oh,
Well, I went to the
buses
doctor.
that-
Yeah, I went to the doctors, and they wrote me a prescription for daily sex. My wife insisted, however, it was dyslexia. Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to the Black Dog 159. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren of the Church of the Blessed Air Fryer.
Oh, for
Welcome,
fuck's
brothers
sake.
and sisters. Welcome.
Motherfucker. I did have the Halo theme ready to go, Dal. You didn't have to do that. Look, hold on.
Bless
Here
you.
we go.
Bless you.
Here we go.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
shit. All right.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, that just sounds ominous. I am Darren of the
Of the Clan
Order
Air
of the
Fryer.
Religious Air Fryer. Clan Air Fryer. And I shall fry all you sinners.
Anyway,
I shall tie you to a post, spray you with oil, and then flip you after 10 minutes. Yes.
that's still a fryer. That's not an air fryer.
We
Anyway.
need to flip it.
Mm,
All these rules for the thing that was so simple in the very beginning.
exactly. Anyway, so I was Lee. He was Darren. We'll stick to the format, Jim.
Hello.
Sure, you want to?
Okay. Oh,
There's
fair.
Jim, and I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, lovely, brilliant. Fucking hell, the wheels came off and we hadn't even
I'm
got the
over it.
bloody names out. Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to 159. This week, he says, trying desperately to get back on format. I don't know why I bother anymore. This week, we'll see how everyone's week's been. We'll have a lot of feedback regarding Saltburn, but mainly air fryers, but Saltburn as well. And then we'll move on to this week's movie, which is your choice, Elton?
It is my choice. Yes, it is The White Tiger.
The White Tiger, indeed, available on Netflix. And yes, we'll see how we get on with that in a while. Excuse me, you'll have to forgive me. I've got a bad back, and I've been eating lots of painkillers. He says, being very careful to say no, but not say what the painkillers are. Right, Elton?
Yes. Let's not say the name of those painkillers.
No, let's not.
Darren,
Anyway.
if you had back pain,
Oh.
Yeah.
what would you take to relieve yourself from the back?
Ibuprofen.
Sorry, what was that?
Ibuprofen. Well, no, you see, I'm still not crossing over. She said that I'm not mentioning any companies because lots of companies make ibuprofen.
Thank you.
I could have said
Ibuprofen.
the N word, but then that's nothing to do with drugs.
No.
I could have said
Nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Oh my god.
Oh, good lord. There we go. See those wheels? They as they
I don't
fly
know.
past.
they've come off. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. What was it called again, Dal? The
Ibuprofen.
painkiller. Yeah, thank you. There you go.
Oh, the
Okay, there you
painkiller.
go.
Yeah, ibuprofen.
People on the Facebook group, please just type in how you say ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. Could be that
Ibuprofen.
as well. Could be
Ibuprofen.
bucket. Could be bouquet. Who
Ibuprofen.
knows?
It is ibuprofen.
I don't know. Whatever.
No, it's because
Oh,
that's
I'm
what.
sorry. Was that an accent? Was that an accent you were just doing there, Lee?
No, it wasn't. I went ibuprofen because the thing was in the green room before we were recording, and I thought I wasn't going to bring it up, but before we were recording and before you logged on, Dal, I mentioned that I had a bad back and I was taking paracetamol and ibuprofen.
It's
And-
how Carol gets him to eat it. It's like,
and-
would you like some ibuprofen?
and I have been mocked ever since
What
for,
the fuck is that?
for calling it ibuprofen. Because
Is
apparently,
this some kind of role play shit?
I don't know, ibuprofen. Apparently, that's not the way to say it.
No, you don't say it like that.
Ibuprofen. Ibuprofen, ibuprofen, and weebuprofen.
Exactly.
ask a
Later on,
doctor. Can I
Dr.
say-
Elton McManus will be holding surgery.
Yeah.
As long as you pronounce the
Ibuprofen.
drugs correctly.
Ibuprofen, 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 ibuprofen.
Well,
They
the wheels have definitely vacated the vicinity.
They have. We're just rolling on the axles
Yeah.
right now.
So many sparks.
so
So
many-
many sparks behind me.
Yeah, I ain't even started yet. So yeah. So there you go. We'll move on from ibuprofen. Ibuprofen, and we'll see how everyone's week's been. He says, desperately trying to get on track, and we'll see how everyone's week's been, and I'll speak to you, Jim. Jim, how was your week?
Thankfully, free of any controversial painkiller names. I think.
Yeah, obviously, well, that's a start. I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Well, I did. I finished off the course of stupid antibiotics, and much cheese was had.
Nice. You're back on the cheese wagon.
I am, yes. Back-
Nice.
So that was good, and it seemed to be doing the trick. But we'll just wait and see. I've still got a bit of a cough, so keep monitoring that situation.
Right.
Other than that, I've been dodging the wind. And a bit of a
that 'cause
scare
of
with
the
the high
cheese?
storms we've had. No, this is the constant storms we seem to be having. It was I woke up yesterday and found like a large, sort of bit of wood in my front courtyard, which led to much going around the house and looking, going, "Is this off my house?
Oh, God.
Wait a minute, no, it's not."
Yeah.
Good. But what was like, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah.
I don't know. And thank Christ it didn't go through the window. But we've got high winds tonight, so if I suddenly go dead, that'll be why.
Okay, right, fine, yes. So if it'd be sort of like Twister, wouldn't it? It'd be sort of like, excuse me, gotta go, cow. Okay, so hopefully you remain online thanks to not
Yeah,
disturbed by.
It was
Jocelyn.
worse the other night. Even the other night, it was like 60 plus miles an hour winds. Tonight it's down to like 40, early 50s, low
Right.
50s. So it seems to have settled down now. I don't like it. It's too quiet. It's up to
quiet.
something.
Too quiet. There's something out there. Cool.
Yes. So,
Mm.
but other than that, no, not really done a right lot, to be honest.
Okay.
January, it's time to stay in and be skinned.
Well, that's yes.
Fend off constant hassle from the taxman. Look, I did the tax return weeks ago. Okay,
Yes. Leave me
Don't owe you
alone.
any money. Stop sending reminders. I've got it. Do you need any help? No, it's done. That's a bit late, isn't it?
Yes.
Stop it. There's just a constant barrage of texts and emails from HMRC. It's kind of, next year I'm going to fill in mine late because I might as fucking well.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If I'm going to get all these fucking hassle every 2 days, well, about 2 a day at least. Have you done your tax return? Yes, I've done my tax return. I don't know fucking return. I don't owe you a penny. Now piss off. It's all paid. Done.
Eat the fucking pie.
That's me fucking son then.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, the taxman cometh and he won't stop coming.
The bloody automated systems. It's kind of just have a little switch. You kind of right. We've got the tax credit. It's done. Just turn them off now. Just start them up next October to
That's
remind him to do it. You know, that'll be fine.
Well, that would be efficient though, wouldn't it? And that's
It
not
would be. It would be efficient, but it's more than we can ask for these days, apparently.
Yes. Quite.
But anyhow,
Anywho.
if you're going to be inefficient, can it be something like, you accidentally decide you owe me a lot of back tax and you don't, and give me a lot of money. That would be good.
Yeah. You're inefficiently forgetting the automatic refund that you set up ages ago. Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be fantastic. But sadly not. Right. Okay then. Anything else, sir?
No, so I'll leave that as a. I suspect we've got a lengthy film discussion and. Or a very short one, depending how this goes.
Yes, depending how far the wheels come off before we get there.
And how much is edited out.
Well, yes, quite. We'll leave that there. We'll see how we go.
Just edit now to goodbye, everyone.
Yeah, and the phrase is
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. Yeah, Ibuprofen. With 2 O's and an exclamation mark right in the middle. Anyway, right. Well, then over to you, Elton. How's your week?
Very busy. I have now. I've been struggling to remember how to do a podcast. I have been drawing people very badly in movies, and my mum became an artist.
She became an artist.
Yes. Well,
Go on.
okay. So she actually sold a painting.
Nice.
So about a year or so ago, I introduced her to the Bob Ross stuff, and she was like, "Oh!" I then bought all the paints and started painting, and then got a commission.
How did she advertise that though?
I don't know. I think it was like a friend of her sister's, which is miles away. But yeah, I've been getting the brunt of it because when I phone her up and speak to her about it, and just to see how her week's going and stuff, and she comes back with, "Okay, I've been asked to do a change." I don't think she was expecting to have changes done on a painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was yes. Now you're being commissioned to do this.
Yes.
Get used to this.
Yeah.
This will happen a lot.
Mm.
And there's been a lot of changes.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. With some of that stuff, the thing to do is to agree with the client the amount of changes, and after that, money goes up. But there you go.
First time round, so
Live and
it's
learn.
fine. But yeah, she's made a tidy little penny on this one, so
Nice.
that's all good. And I think once you've actually sold a piece, then you become an artiste.
Is that right?
I think that's a good rule of thumb to say that you're an artist, but then you sell and you are an artiste,
And then you're a sellout.
and then then you chase the corporate teats around.
Yes, that's it. You're nothing but a corporate shell.
Yeah.
You're not doing it for the love of the creativity.
No, but
Yeah.
well, she's been saying that she's been staring at this painting for so long, looking forward to actually doing something for herself now. So that's good. It's nice to introduce someone into this sort of thing and then see it actually happen and get to this point. So I'm very proud, very proud son. What else? Did a new podcast, which is unbungoed at the moment, so I can't say anything about it just yet.
Unbungoed?
Unbungoed, yes.
What, way down deep in the middle of the Congo?
Yeah.
Is the hippo taking grape, apricots, guavas, and mangoes?
Oh, God, I forgot you knew that.
Oh, yeah, man. Bongo, they keep it in the jungle.
And yeah, I started.
I just feel an edit coming up here. I really do. This is where the editing starts, isn't it?
Hey, I didn't go into the accent.
You're going to talk
stay
about
back.
crows and stuff.
Orangey for
now,
crows. No.
Yeah, you're not going there. No, okay.
No, not yet.
Just
I'm just clinging like a dying man to a life raft on this one. Just see where it ends up. Keep talking, Elton.
Okay.
Keep talking.
And started I think a week or so, maybe 2 weeks ago. I started doing this badly drawn movies, and I actually finally started putting these out. So a year or so ago, I started doing the badly drawn F1 just to go along with like the Formula One stuff that I've been doing. and it's off season. I was like, do you know what? Fancy doing some movies.
Mhm.
And so I've been doing that. I've been putting that out on Twitter.
On
So,
Twitter.
Yes.
And very
And
good they are
Threads.
too.
That's what I found out Threads is for now. That's
Hmm.
what I use Threads for.
Isn't that about sort of like nuking Sheffield?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh right, okay. As long as I know that. So it's on Threads. And what's your thread handle?
Oh, I think it's just Elton McManus.
All one word.
Yeah.
Lovely. Because
I'm
I haven't
sure
got
it is.
Threads or Twitter, so I don't know.
Or you can look for a badly drawn movie on Twitter.
Hold on.
Because
Bad-
now they have like a limit on bloody letters. So I couldn't get movies. Stupid Twitter. And yes, it is Twitter because it's still twitter.com. Stupid X
Yeah.
thing.
Okay. Cool.
Bloody thing. Anyway, so yeah, I'm doing that now. So, and it's, do you know what? It's my therapy. That's how I see it. I'm just sitting here, drawing away
Yeah.
and having fun with it.
As well you should.
Yeah.
They are fun. They are good laugh.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So if you're interested in that, then head on, have a little look, and yeah, thumbs up and stuff.
Cool.
Like that.
Nice. Okay.
And that's it, really.
And
That's
that's
all I've
it.
been doing, apart from work, and that's like well boring and stuff.
Well boring and shit.
Mm.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. Well, in which case, let's move on to Mr. Barnard. Sir, your week.
Yes,
Tell us.
my week. Not very much happening, actually.
Okay.
Apart from watching some old TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
From my childhood, just to see if they were as good as I remember them.
Mm-hmm. They're not,
One in
are they?
particular, there was no.
Mm.
I actually sat and watched the
Jim will
first
fix it.
episode.
Rolf's
yeah.
Cartoon Club?
Yeah. Oh, now then.
It's a knockout with Stuart Hall.
It's an up and under.
Yep.
No, it's a show that I watched when I was young, but I remember it being really creepy. Right, it was
Right.
called Sky, and it was all about an alien that was stranded on Earth. It was only like 6 or 7 episodes. And it had a lot of, those sort of negative effects they used to do for Top of the Pops during the 70s,
Yeah.
right? It was, they used an awful lot of that in it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember it
the
being
Tomorrow
quite a
People
creepy
as
show.
well.
The Vision Mixer is what they used to
Yeah,
call
that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, the Vision
Vision,
Mixer, that's
yeah.
it, right? So somebody's gone like ape shit.
Someone's fallen asleep on the buttons.
This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's like, I've got to save my career. Let's really go to town on this. You know, I'm going to go over the top with the special effects.
Hmm.
And I've got to say, I sat and watched the first episode, and I think they're like about 24 minutes long, each episode. And 12 minutes of that episode was watching these blokes going through a forest doing the beaters on the trees to get the birds to come up for this shooting party. That's all it was.
Right.
All right, I'm just waiting for the sci-fi to start any minute now. Any minute now.
Any
Any
second.
minute now.
Any second.
I obviously had an awful lot of patience when I was younger because, not much story in the first episode. I think they crammed it in the last 5 seconds.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh shit, we better write something."
Oh, right. Okay.
So, that was.
It's
really
a very
disappointing.
weird series if you watch the rest.
yeah.
It is really
Oh,
strange.
I've copped hold of the rest of the episodes. Yeah.
There's only 7 of them.
So,
Hmm.
it's about that 6
What?
or 7, 6
Yeah.
or 7 episodes. But I'll probably have a look at the rest of them and just see how we go with it.
Yeah.
But like I say, all I remember from watching it when I was younger, that it was an incredibly creepy show.
What's it
So
called again?
it's kind of knocked me. It's called Sky, SKY. You can, if you go on YouTube, it's got all the episodes on there.
According to Wikipedia,
Okay.
Sky is a mystically orientated children's fantasy television serial made for ITV by HTV and broadcast in 7 parts from 7th of April to the 19th of May in 1975.
I've done an episode on it in my files.
You have indeed.
Indeed.
A mysterious alien boy with strange, solid blue eyes finds himself on Earth in the wrong period of time.
I think that was the thing that creeped me out when I was little. It's the eyes when he goes does his powers thing, whatever his powers may be. I mean, you see him at the beginning. He I've fallen over, and then gets covered in leaves, and I'm okay, fine.
That's a thing.
There you are. That's a thing. That's a choice. Not sure what the context is for this yet, but we'll sit and watch that. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to having the rest of my memories of childhood completely dashed. Exactly. Right. I'm still looking for, episodes of things like Noah's Castle and stuff like this.
Castle?
Noah's Castle. Did you ever watch that?
Isn't that sort of dystopian, slightly in the future one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fucked
really
up.
Depressing show.
Yeah,
that one was. That's all about Britain going through a food
right
crisis.
In your wheelhouse,
pretty much like it is at the moment.
Yeah.
It is. I remember Mike Reed, the comedian, playing the bad guy in this, and being really good at it as well. Quite a nasty piece of work in the show.
Run around.
So, run around. Yeah, way. But run around. I'm going to look that up on YouTube now. I'll probably have my more of my childhood completely. This is not as good as I remember it.
I think the phrase 1970s kids were idiots. I think that's probably the
I don't know. If you watch something like Sky or Children of the Stones, you wouldn't make them now for grown-ups in most cases because they're too weird.
That's true.
They are
or King
weird.
of the Castle.
What's that other one?
The King. Really
yes, I was just
strange.
thinking that. I went looking for that as well. Couldn't find a single fucking episode of that though, which is a shame. I think you can buy all the episodes on Amazon. I think they sell the actual series on there. So
Network released it on DVD and it was pretty cheap, but they've gone bust. So I'd have a look and get one now before they all disappear. So, all these sort of series they brought out and very reasonably priced, but now they've gone bust. No one knows what's happening. The collector's prices will start kicking in for all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, especially as more and more media goes digital, so less and less stuff is actually going to be available on physical home viewing ownership. So
Yep. Indeed.
Okay.
Unless you've got other means of acquiring it.
Yar har fiddly
Moving on
a
swiftly.
pirate is away with me. Yeah, sorry. Yes, you're a pirate. Anyway, I have no.
They've only got themselves to blame.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, they have. I mean, no,
Damn fucking right.
It always comes down to the same fact. If things are convenient and are reasonably priced, most people will go for it and won't bother pirating it. That was the whole point of bloody Netflix until everything started disappearing off it and moving to different streaming services. So, yeah, fuck them.
Yep.
They won't make it available for us. They won't make it available for us if we wanted to buy it. They won't make it available for us in a physical form. Then fuck them. It's a freak. It's free. It's a free for all. Fuck them. Anyway,
yeah,
sorry.
fuck them. Fuck them. Damn right.
Yes.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
So yeah, that's about it really for me.
Oh right. Okay. No problem. Well, which is handy in a way because we've gone right through our week in about 20 minutes. But I, on the other hand, have done a couple of things. To say the least. So we'll start off with what I've watched this week. We decided Carol and I were going to have a little. The kids were out. We're going to watch a movie night. Watch something.
Back.
Yeah, back to back. I had the telly side. But no. So we went through the old Amazon list. So there's. Reacher. We finished with Reacher, and that was fine. A lot of people online don't seem to like it, but I had fun with it, so whatever.
Really? They don't like it? Why not?
It's too long-winded to go into, but people like Reacher being lone wolf Reacher, and he gets his kind of team involved. and people didn't like that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Go and watch it, make your own mind up. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But then what we did was there was a movie that they were pushing quite hard on Amazon Prime called Role Play.
Oh yes, I've seen the thing keeps popping up all the time. Yeah,
with Keely Kuko from Big Bang Theory and David Oelio. I can never remember. Away. Anyway, and
does he need ibuprofen as well?
Ibuprofen?
Does he need ibuprofen?
Yes, he does need ibuprofen. And also, it also stars Bill Nighy. And the plot, right?
Bill Nighy, wipe the tear from your eye. Sorry.
Bill Nighy.
Oh my God.
It's happening. We're in Bollywood. It's going to be a musical episode.
Don't. Just don't. Just don't. Anyway. But anyway, tell me if you've heard this plot before. There's a couple. They're happily married. They're all fine and everything's very mundane and normal until it turns out that one of them is a high-level assassin. Have you heard this plot before?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
I'm not sure where you're getting that from. It does, yes. I'm not sure which film.
Yeah. No. Except this time,
could it be lies which are true? Could it be?
Or it could be nobody. Nobody. Or it could be Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Or it can be any number of fucking films. And so it's like, okay, fine, we can go with that. And the idea is that to spice their marriage up, because they've been married for a while, this couple, David Oelio and Keely Kuko, they decide that they're going to do a little bit of spicy role play in a hotel. And then it turns out that they're not just doing spicy role play, but actually one of them is an assassin, and she's kind of like ID'd by another assassin played by Bill Nighy. Now, on the sort of face of it, just like that, you'd think, okay, it's not going to be the most original thing, but you know what? I can go with it. Yeah, it's a Saturday evening, sort of eat your pizzas, just sit there with your brain kind of lolling about because you don't want to watch 20 fucking things with Michael McIntyre and Ant Dec on the telly.
Oh, God. No.
So we sat there, and you know what? Every conceivable cliche in roleplay, of which there is lots, they fuck it up every step of the way. Instead of like revealing during the, shall we say, the sexy role play that she's an assassin, you already know she's an assassin. They show you some really naff little montage that she's an assassin. And then they show you her getting phone calls from her handler, you know, the agency handler. And then she goes off and runs away from the family, and then the family go looking for her, and it's just, and every mortal thing about it is plodding. And then the action, when the action actually happens, you're just kind of going, it's that kind of how can I put it, Saturday afternoon tea time action movie action, where everything's clearly filmed in a room and everyone's taking swings at each other from about 60 feet away, but they've got the camera angled just right, and it's all moving a bit too slowly, and everyone's clearly not practiced enough, and nobody's done choreographed fights before, and everything just feels so boring. God. It's a comedy apparently without any comedy, an action thriller without any action or thrills, and a quirky action without any quirk at all, and every single bit of it you can just plot out on a graph and just go, I'll tell you what, tell me, just wake me up when something actually interesting happens, and nothing ever does. And it's just bollocks, absolute bollocks. It was the most boring film I think I've watched all week. And then after that, I watched White Tiger, which we'll discuss in a bit. And then the other film I watched was Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I thought you'd seen that.
I have seen it. But the thing was, when you're sitting there going, oh, they weren't bad. I'm sure I saw that and I didn't mind it. And I thought, you know what? It says on Netflix it's leaving in the next couple of weeks. So you know what? I'm going to watch it again and refresh my memory. And about 5 minutes in, I thought, yeah, I've made a terrible mistake here. And yeah, I have watched it before. And I thought the last time I kind of watched it, I was kind of watching it, I think, with more of a rose-tinted specs to the whole thing. I was kind of like, oh, it's a Ghostbusters movie with the Ghostbusters in it, and it's got a bit of a mystery to it, and it's got all this stuff going. And this time I went through, and I'll just read this out to you. I got so bored watching it that I actually started writing out every single thing that actually was a complete. And I noticed.
Do you know, other people just turn it off.
No,
but you start there taking notes.
I get hate watching, but what happens is, it suddenly reminded me that there was a little phase of people of Hollywood wanting to reboot stuff, but not wanting to reboot stuff. So what they do is they remake the previous thing with the old stars being old, and then just put it slightly to the left in a different town or whatever, and then spin off the new characters. But here we go. Here, this is just like where I was kind of bored, and I just sort of started thinking, right, so we have Elmer Bernstein's music. This is just my list. Zool. Arms pop out of a chair to grab someone. Headlamp in the eyes gag. Symmetrical book stacking. Quote about sky becomes black as sackcloth, moon becomes as blood, Judgment Day quote. Ecto 1. Temple engravings, the same as Dana Barrett's Temple of Gozer. Fireman's pole. Does this pole still work? A full collection of mold spores and fungus. Ghostbusters ads on the YouTube. Twinkie. Just because. Someone saying deliberately who you're going to call without irony. Appearance of Zool again, crumbling through a statue and revealing an eye, exactly as in the first film. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. A quote that says, there is no mum, only Zool. Gatekeeper and Keymaster shag buddies. Ghosts all escape a trap. Colander hat from Ghostbusters 1 being worn for no reason whatsoever. Everyone changes into dogs. Another long-winded cease and desist from a character to have a nice one, that ought to do it kind of gag. Crossing the streams. Love interest breaks out of stone Zool with fingers first. People covered in marshmallow. I mean,
We're still talking about Ghostbusters and not one of your fantasies.
Yeah. And then what happened was I fell off the chair. So Ghostbusters was another washout. It just reminded me that there was like Phantom, was it like Force Awakens and Top Gun, where they basically remake the film, but just like 10 feet to the left, get the old actors in and go, yeah, you're not quite as good as the new hotness, and then literally remake the film beat for beat, except they just palette swap a couple of things. Anyway, so that was that. But then, and here's the main thing, me and Carol, we went to Avora. Now, what is Avora, you might say? Well, let me start you with this thing. What happened was one of Carol's clients, over Christmas, wanted to give her a little bonus present and bought her a cocktail experience. And the cocktail experience was called Avora. Now, what is Avora? Well, we had to go to the wilds of Hoxton, Darren's favourite place.
Whoa, warning.
And you go in.
Smash.
Yeah. And we went there, And it's like this, as you walk around, it's like this massive building, and all over it is Avatar-style papyrus font with Avora written all over it. And immediately I'm like, oh no. Oh, here we go. And they won't let us in until 4:00. I'm thinking, oh no, here we go. And then it was just me and Carol. It's like, oh no, and then I'm reading all these things saying, it's an experiential cocktail experience. And, oh no, out of work actors, no.
What?
And luckily,
what an experience!
Experiential cocktail experience. Yeah.
What the fuck is experiential?
Well,
is that an actual fucking word? Or did somebody make that up?
Hang fire, my Hoxton hating friend. for the story will continue. So we go in.
Do you get a 3/4 of a pint glass to go with it as well? Is that what they gave you?
Wait.
Or
Steady.
a 2-pint jug?
Steady.
Fucking hell.
Studdle. Harold. Hang fire. We go in. There's 11 of us in the end. Go in. And as you go in, there's lockers. And you're like, okay, right, fine. They get you to take your coat off and put that in the locker, so it's fine. You go downstairs. And there's this room bathed in blue light. And you're like, okay. And there's lots of like metal stuff along one wall. There's all these digital screens across the other wall. And then all of a sudden this guy comes out. And he's speaking all like this. Oh my God, you never understand. Oh my God, I'm just like totally mad. And you're thinking, right. And then he goes, it's all about Luminol. Welcome to Avora. It's amazing. And you're like, oh. And there was this Romanian couple who'd obviously come to the experience as well. And the husband looked at the wife, looked at his partner, and just literally said, I think we have made a mistake. And it didn't take long for us all to figure that out, because this guy
put that on TripAdvisor now.
I think we have made a mistake. And basically this little geezer in the white lab coat starts waffling on some backstory about like this corporate company, and they found a gateway to another planet, and the planet's really difficult to get through, and the atmosphere is really impossible to breathe, but the only people who are on there are the inhabitants, which look remarkably like us, apparently, but they survive because everything on the planet is surrounded by this stuff called luminol. And the only way you can get through the experience is by imbibing luminol. And so after all this big run-up, and there's lots of it, and there's lots of Amdram, I mean, seriously, we are into proper improv, toe curling, amateur dramatics. He's behind you. Oh, no, he isn't, kind of stuff. The scientist is going, right, let's get you getting some luminol. Okay, and he's going round. But before you can have your luminol, you've got to put on a spacesuit.
Right.
So we're all handed spacesuits.
Jesus
Christ. Wait. So you're all handed spacesuits. I'm putting the spacesuit on. I've got it all on. Right, okay. So I'm sitting there thinking, oh, fuck. On the tables are all these test tubes and glasses. The test tubes are filled with blue liquid and yellow liquid. And the glasses have got, well, as we found out, dry ice frosting them up. So you you're supposed to act together and work out your luminol intake, and you mix up a drink, which essentially was, for all intents and purposes, a really cheap margarita. So it's like, right, okay, and there's all these bubbles and stuff coming out of it. As you do that, this guy appears, who I would call Pedro Pascal if you ordered him off a Wish. Comes out in military gear, and he starts going, yeah, we're all friends here, ain't we? And I'm here to make sure you're all going to be safe going around the planet Avora. And you're like, oh, God. And he's like, because, if we make the money, if we find the Lumino, we'll all make the money, right? And all this kind of shit. And I'm just like, oh no. Carol's kind of like arms crossed, just glaring at these guys who are doing this kind of like, hey, let's put on a show kind of affair. And it's just like, oh God. And then after another load of old preamble bollocks, we get chosen to go into Avora. And no joking, we go through essentially, now bearing in mind, we're all covered in this spacesuit shit. we get to go through a fabric curtain into the world of Avora. The world of Avora is basically a bar with polystyrene trees stuck to it. And this lady comes up to us, and she's an Avoran. And this lady looked like she should be serving at like Monsoon or something. Everything's kind of like, print fabric all draped all over her with some UV light makeup all over her. And she's like, you are human. You must come to Avora. Welcome, friends. And there's this whole bollocks about waving your
alert.
head.
Accent alert. Warning. Accent alert.
Exactly. And she goes,
Prepare for the Welsh accent. Prepare for the Welsh accent.
Brace yourselves. Incoming. No, but she's like, you must come with us to Avora. You are our friends. And this sort of thing. And she leads like all of us through into this bar. It's a bar with like bits of plastic tree hanging down and a couple of big screens. And then there's more drinks. And again, you have this whole thing playing out around you with the scientists telling us all that we're in, this is Avora and this is an amazing world, and this lady kind of perching on the edges of tables at us, kind of going, you are a friend? Yes, you are a friend. And then there's this other guy, this fucking Pedro Pascal cheap ass bastard going, yeah, let's work together. If we can find the source of the Lumino, if you can work with me and I can work with you, I could give you another drink and then we could get the money. You see what I'm saying, yeah? All this sort of thing. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. I've seen Avatar, mate. I've seen Avatar. I know where this is going. So we have another drink. By this point, the Romanian couple who are with us have completely checked out. They're off with the fairies. We're just having a chat now. Us lot. We're just sitting there, just drinking this second drink, which was like purple and some mango something. And then we get taken to after about 20 minutes of this, we get taken through into another area, which is the great tree, where all the luminol is stored. And you go in, and it's basically fibre optics just hanging off the ceiling to make it look like a tree from fucking Avatar. And you have another drink. Right. And then the play plays out a little bit more. The scientist gets shot. The geezer who shoots him says, I'm going to take out the luminol. And then he goes to shoot the girl, and the girl's like, oh no, I'm a friend. I would not give any more than luminol away. And then basically he drinks the wrong bloody luminol and he poisons himself and dies. And then basically we have another drink and then we leave. It was without a shadow of a doubt so toe curling. I think I almost broke my ankles from my toes curling over.
Did you have to join in at all? Or was
yeah. There's interactive moments. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we had. Yeah, everyone involved had to sing to the tree to bring it back to life.
What?
Oh yeah. Was it singing?
What did you sing at the tree? What was it?
It was something like oh, or something. Wasn't it? Just, yeah, you had to wave your hands to the tree.
You didn't take missed opportunity, mate. Missed opportunity. You should have started off with "I'm coming home. I've done my time. Dooba doob, tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree."
It's been 3 long years. Am I still on these? It was so toe killing, and then you get led out back to the home world. And then immediately some button presses,
Back to
the red light.
World.
Yeah, I know. And the fucking red lights all go off and they go, oh, it's an emergency. It's an emergency. Get out, get out, get out. And you sort of just kind of slowly take your spacesuit off and leave.
Oh.
Yeah.
Welcome, my friends, to the planet of Vorax. It is very much like your planet Earth, except we have a different shaped gear stick on the mini metro.
It was more like, welcome to the planet of Avora. It is an arboreal world, a fantastic world of magic, fun, adventure, and 3 bars stuck together with some polystyrene and glue. And yeah. it was, like I say, the Romanians summed it up. I think we have made a mistake. That was it. That just summed it up. There were people who were obviously into it. There was like a group of like 8 or 9 ladies who'd come along and they either knew what they were getting into or they'd preloaded. So they were up for it. But woof, we're just sitting there on furniture made of blown styrofoam thinking, stuff that sort of would have shamed 1969 era Star Trek, and just like, oh God, for 3 drinks. It was an hour and a half.
I'm just looking it up now.
Avora.
I'm looking at this place.
Oh, yeah.
Avora,
look it up.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, hold on.
Right,
Avora.
okay.
The Avora-experience.co.uk. Step into a magical world where cocktails come to life. Yeah,
Right.
I'm just going to put that in the chat for the other guys here. You can enjoy this.
There's a couple of reams of cheap combat camouflage strung over the rooftop there.
Yep. Oh, yeah, there's
God. That's just the fonts.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my word.
Papyrus.
Fuck me.
It's papyrus. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the penis plant of Avora.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. It was. Yeah. It was naff. It's fully 360, fully immersive. 3 cocktails included, sustainably led, and from a cast of talented actors.
How did those
There's
spacesuits smell?
I don't know. Luckily, I lost my sense of smell in 2017, so I have no idea. All I know is that when I sat down, they were all perfectly loose, but when I sat down, they bunched up around my arse. So I had this sort of crutch thing pulling down, and then Carol took a photograph of me, and it looked like I was the Michelin Man because it all bunched up underneath my arse, and it was all pulled super tight. If I didn't realise, and when I stood up, it was all fine. It's all baggy and loose, but it's like I bunched it up. I looked like someone had just badly stuffed a duvet. It's the weirdest.
Can I just point people's attention, by the way? I've just put a picture of these glasses that they've got in this place into chat. I'm pretty sure those are the ones I've got in my cupboard. They cost me 60 pence each from Tesco's.
Well, actually, yeah, those glasses, yeah, the drinks glow. That's the other thing. But what they've got is they've got battery tea lights in them. That's essentially it. Hold on a sec. I will
Kill the magic.
Kill the magic. Yeah. Hold on. There you go. Send that. There. So, yeah, Avora. It's a world of wonder. Honestly,
Fuck Hoxton. Fuck it's 3/4 of a pint glass. Fuck it's 2 pint jug. Fuck it. I'll tell you what we're going to do is not going to give you a buzzer to tell you when the table's ready. We're going to make you wear a fucking baseball cap with a light on it that flashes. That's what we're going to do. Okay?
Yeah. Well, it was a thing. It happened. Not something I'd recommend in a rush. I guess if you go with a bunch of friends who are up for it, fine. But it's no alien experience, and it's no sort of like Laser Quest or anything like that, which it kind of wanted to be. It's just boring. And if you don't like Avatar, like I don't, then the plot coming out as Avatar Light with 3 actors is just, and some bar staff, it's just like, no. I got nothing else to say, but no. God bless you. No. So that was my week. Just no. Avora, leave your shame at the airlock. Right. Anyway, yeah. So do check it out. Avora, AVORA -experience.co.uk. It's a thing. It's certainly a thing.
Experience in speech marks.
Yeah. The video that they show on the website behind the text is pretty much the entire experience, except it's dragged out for 90 minutes. So enjoy that. Right. So that's our week. Let's move on to feedback from last week. Now, last week we did do the movie Saltburn, which got us talking in all sorts of tangents. We also talked a lot about air fryers for reasons that I just don't quite fully understand anymore.
Some people on here spoke about air fryers.
Yes, very much so. Yes.
Who are you referring to?
You cultish twat.
I have no idea what you mean.
Fucking air fryers. Don't start. Just don't.
Oh dear, said Thomas. We've got non-believers.
Anyway, so let's go through the feedback on the Facebook group, which was sent through on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/group/the Black Dog Podcast, for Saltburn and for air fryers. And the first we'll do the sensible feedback, which was from John Campion, who left some thoughts about Saltburn. And he said, first thought, some thoughts. The Britain's upper class basically get born into it or use violence, deception and fraud to enter it. The upper class characters lose their power when the others stop believing in it. Sir James tries to shame Oliver into leaving, and has nothing when Oliver simply refuses to be embarrassed into going. Eventually, Sir James has to get his staff to go and do his dirty work for him, which is a good point. The scene where Oliver leaves is a great insight too, showing just how many people is needed doing the work to provide a leisurely, elegant, careless life for the inhabitants of Saltburn. Yeah, which is interesting because when you see Oliver leave, there's about 20 people standing there in the back rooms just having a fag as he leaves. Next thoughts. Oliver and Farley have to scrabble for their place in Saltburn to the point where they compete with each other, and are tolerated only as long as they are of interest and to pander to the inhabitants sufficiently. Oliver points this out to Felix, that he wouldn't be there had he been honest about his comfortable middle-class background. Metaphorically, they have no use for him once he's no longer drinking their bathwater. I'm not doing the gluggy noises. Oliver has ruthlessness that the family's predecessors almost certainly had, that their privileged descendants no longer possess, and whose vast privilege has not equipped them to deal with. And regarding the revelation of his planning, I think he planned to ingratiate himself with them at first, and then changed his plan to supplant them completely once he realised he was destined to be tolerated for the summer at most. With that said, it's worth pointing out that the family are horrible, just in a way that's more socially acceptable here. Elsbeth's comments about her friend's suicide, oh, she'll do anything for attention, Sir James being unable to mourn Felix normally, and will not allow anyone else to, and Felix evidently bringing other various Olivers to the house, only to discard them once they're no longer of interest to him. The family is callous, malicious, indifferent, and cruel, and in an indirect, careless way that they have been getting away with for years, protected from the consequences. They are dangerous people who have never been confronted as such. It's a shame that Oliver's aims just seem to be to take and reproduce their privilege, but I guess that's a comment on their class system as well. Accidents are for people like you. For the rest of us, there's work, and unlike you, I actually know how to work. So that's John Campion's thoughts on it. Sean Gleason writes in as well to say, very good movie to go in blind. Quite a difference in character to play in this compared to Banshees of Inisherin, but he does get a little red-faced and plants flowers at his friend's funeral enclosed is a picture of our Lord Air Fryer. There's a picture of fucking Air Fryer.
Right.
Finished listening to I finished listening to this episode. No mention of last week's phrase, which was an odd prediction: Willie Saltburn. Okay, never mind. Instead, the guy who does all the spaceships, who called out the Rebel Moon stuff that last week, replied to say, "I feel moist. Did I get a mention or two on the podcast?" I've paused as I've not seen Saltburn, as I think I have not seen Saltburn. I think I've been there. So, an air fryer starship with the ability to fry an entire planet. Do you want that creating? An air frying planet destroyer. Good Lord. Anyway, some cunt called Darren Barnard says, "It's over, Metcalf. I have the higher heat setting." But we'll move on from that. Jack Woodgate comes in on Saltburn and says, as to when Oliver started playing the long game, I think it's worth noting that he was playing the part of an impoverished working class kid right from the off. As soon as he arrives in Oxford, somebody makes a remark about his clothing, and later somebody says that his clothes came from Oxfam. However, his parents, although not super rich, were far from the image of working class destitution and despair he painted them as, and were actually, as later revealed, to be rather well-to-do and middle class, hardly the type of family to get their son to go to university in second-hand clothes. However, there is snobbery levelled at Oliver for not being for being a scholarship schoolboy, i.e., getting into Oxford because of a grant and not on mummy and daddy's money. So there is that. But the fact that he leans into the role so hard from the very beginning suggests to me that he always had an ulterior motive. And he also says something which I don't quite understand, but he goes, "Did anyone else notice when Venetia mentions Shelley's doppelganger walking by the window and waving at his housekeeper at breakfast? A tall young man with a mop of black hair wearing a pink shirt walks past the window behind her. And what is Felix wearing in that scene? A pink shirt." Don't quite get I don't quite understand that. I can't remember that at all. Anyway. Thanks, Jack. Anyway, so moving on, because we've got lots of it. Martin Thompson said, Elton's in good company, as Kermode and Mayo also mentioned the vampire theory on Saltburn. Personally, Oliver began to turn for me when he came on to Elsbeth in the garden, but it felt a little bit like an odd gear change at the time, so I don't know if it would be different on a rewatch when you know where it's going. I'm not sure if he had a full plan when going into Saltburn, or he was just taking advantage of whatever situation he could. When Farley talks about how his summer could have been a bright light in an otherwise dull-looking future, I think that was when he decided he wanted to take over Saltburn for himself. I also do wonder if the final scene was a mirror of the tour Felix took Oliver on when he first came into Saltburn. You know, the dance, the Sophie Ellis-Bextor stuff.
Ah, okay, yes.
Interesting.
I like that sort of stuff. Oh no.
Yeah. Martin then goes off a little bit off of Saltburn to say, regarding Good Omens 2, apparently Neil Gaiman said there's an idea for a sequel, but that idea would be in season 3, so you need 2 to bridge the gap. I agree it's a scant on plot, but there are a lot of people who would be happy just to see more of the characters. While the air fryer conversation reminded me of Jerry Seinfeld routine about how there's no dry cleaning because the process still involves liquid, and the only true form of dry cleaning is scratching something off of your clothing. There you go. I'm a little disturbed. I've got to be honest. I'm a little disturbed how this air fryer thing's taken hold. I'm not going to lie.
Just give yourself over to us, my son.
I'm not.
You know you
never.
want to.
I'll never join you.
Yes, you do.
What is this? Take it. Fry me a burger, and your journey to the fast food side will be complete.
Never. You were the chosen one. It said you would destroy the air fryers, not join them. Bring balance to the kitchen, not leave it in darkness. You were my brother.
Oh, I'm afraid this air fryer will be preheated when your friends arrive.
Reheat? In our moment of triumph? I think you overestimate their chances.
Oh, got hiccups now.
When 900 degrees you reach, fry as good you will not. Hmm? Right.
Oh, God.
This bickering is pointless. Vader, reheat him.
As you wish.
Don't be so proud of this technological terror you've constructed. The power to dry out a plate of chicken with fancy hairdryers are insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Oh, God.
Anyway, right. If anyone wants to remake the whole of Star Wars in air fryer talk and puns, by all means go for it. But Jesus Christ, the fucking air fryers, man. What have you and Jim unleashed upon this world? Seriously.
Only what people wanted.
Don't start getting all holy
That's
with
it.
the mouth with me.
We're only saying what people are thinking. That's all we're doing.
If you were saying what I was thinking, you wouldn't be saying anything about air fryers, but you would be looking in the mirror and calling yourself an utter... Well, anyway, we're going to move on now. We're going to move on. We're going to draw a line under that. If anybody would like to send any other feedback in, air fryer related or otherwise, do send it in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Or go onto the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/The Black Dog Podcast, and just leave some feedback underneath the episode that will be pinned to the top of the group. Right.
We are the new vegans. You realise that, didn't you?
No, you are. Don't lope me in with this, mate. It's you and Jim. You know what you're doing. Sitting there with your fucking air fryers,
Beautifully
and
cooked burgers.
beautifully cooked burgers.
Exactly.
My arse.
Crispy chips, yes.
Yes, I'm glad there's a device that can do crispy chips. Like we haven't had crispy chips for the last 150 years.
Hey,
If only there was something that
crispy
could have
chips
done.
can be very hard to attain. Thank you very much. In a normal oven.
Yeah, is that right?
Bullshit.
Is your oven just a silver foil box with a fucking cigarette lighter at the bottom of it? Then, because otherwise, you
So mine is a box with a magnifying glass, right, which only operates apparently properly during the summer for some reason. I don't know why.
So really, you haven't really seen an improvement from having an air fryer. You've just seen the fact that you've been able to cook food.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. So I'm just fucking hell between Jim sniggering, Darren's signal dropping out, and Elton hiccuping in between. This is like some kind of weird fast show sketch.
I'm sorry.
All around my ass. Right. I think we'll leave it there then. Oh, for God's sake. Right. We'll roll the jingle.
Have you got something you could take for those hiccups?
I'm surprised you can't cure them with an air fryer, to be honest.
A good plate of chips eaten quickly might do the trick.
Yeah, because I can drum them up in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, is that before you or after you put oil in them and make them an oil frying thing? But anyway, right. Let's move on. You know where to leave all the feedback. We've done the feedback. We've done the week. Let's just roll the jingle. Right, so White Tiger is a 2021 Indian drama film written and directed by Ramin Bahrani. The film stars Ardesh Gorath and Priyanka Chopra and Raj Kumar Rao. The film tells the story about Balram, who comes from a poor Indian village and uses his wit and cunning to escape poverty. The book was adapted in late 2010 with the rights being sold, and then Bahrani was chosen to helm the adaptation. Having read early drafts of the novel before it was published, he decided to film extensively in Delhi in October to December 2019. The film wasn't released until 2 years later for pretty much obvious reasons. COVID, everyone. Mm-hmm. There is no budget or actual box office take, because unsurprisingly, you don't get that sort of stuff when it's immediately bought up by Netflix. So we have absolutely no idea how much it cost, how much it took, or how well it is viewed. There are some reception things in the wiki. I'm not going to go through that because that will colour our view. But you know what? For format's sake, how much do you reckon it made at the box office? And everyone's just hoping I don't pick them first. I'm going to go with you, Elton, since you picked it.
How about a tube of knockoff toothpaste?
Nice. And what about you, Jim?
36 million different gods.
Nice. Okie dokie. And what about you, Dal?
3 or 4 Larry, yet very stylish shirts.
Nice. Stylish shirts. We like stylish shirts. Right. We're going to do the usual. Go around the table. Have a quick précis of what we thought of it. Elton, it was your pick, so you go last.
Sweet.
But let's go around the table very quickly, briefly, before we get into spoilers. Let's start with you, Jim. What did you think of White Tiger?
Well, I knew nothing at all about this going into it, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Considering last week we watched Saltburn, and I also watched James May, Our Man in India. Somehow this followed on perfectly from both of them.
Yeah. Does seem like we're in a bit of an eat the rich kind of vibe at the moment, doesn't it? But anyway, cool. Okie dokie. And what about you, Dal? What did you think of it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was within a couple of minutes. I kind of, I was like, yes, yeah, I like this. This is a good film. Yes.
Yeah. For me, I knew nothing about it at all. I watched it and I was totally on board with it. There's a couple of little niggles which I might get to towards the end, but overall, yes, come out of nowhere. Didn't expect much from it, and then by the end of it, I was like, that was a good film. That was a pretty darn solid movie, and yeah, and I was kind of thinking, bloody hell, we must be like properly on the old register, sort of like, down, eat the rich, down with the proletariat. Start storming through and start singing socialism songs and destroy the classes. But no, I really did enjoy it. So yeah, overall, yeah, top thumbs up. But what about you, Elton? This is your second time of watching it.
It is, yes. I watched it, I think, when it very first came out on Netflix, and thoroughly enjoyed it then. And I think I enjoyed it even more this time round.
Right.
I'm not too sure why. I really enjoy the story. I like the characters involved. I think the acting is superb as well, all the way through. There's not a bad performance, I don't think. And it's got some heart in it as well. There's some passion there, definitely. So I really enjoyed it. I was nervous about this because we've just come off of Saltburn, and look, it could be G.I. Joe, but it wasn't. So
I think I speak for both Jim and Darren when I say thank fuck it wasn't.
But it was only after I said, okay, let's do this, then I realised, oh yeah, it's the class thing. But I don't think it was too similar to Saltburn, so it's not that bad.
No.
In comparing and contrasting or anything like that. So I think it's a fairly solid movie that I'm really glad that you guys have come back and said you enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, there's not really an awful lot to dislike about it, to be honest. But anyway, we'll get into it in a second. As ever, if you haven't seen this film and you know nothing about it, then do what we did. Go in blind. Go just stop the podcast, go watch the film, come back for the review afterwards, because I think you'll enjoy it a lot more. But otherwise, as ever, he says, slowly reaching for the controls, I think we are now going into the spoiler zone.
Put your helmet on. We'll be reaching speeds of 3.
Tetsu Canada.
Money plane.
There you go. I think. Oh, hold on.
Nice.
I haven't pressed all the buttons yet. Press all the buttons. There you go. So, anyway, there you go. We are definitely in the spoiler zone section. If you haven't noticed, there it is again.
Put your helmet on. We'll be reaching speeds of 3.
Thank you. Right, so let's get into the spoiler zone. Now, I don't really know how best to address this, because I think we've got to go straight to the elephant in the room, which is we're talking about a culture of which we know, I speak for myself, precious little. I think it's safe to say we just got to.
Well, I'll have you know.
Do you understand the caste system, Elton?
No.
I didn't at all. And the whole thing. So anyone listening to this who has much more knowledge of us, much more knowledge of this culture than us, obviously take everything we say with an understanding that we know nothing. We're only judging stuff based on what we're seeing in the film.
Yeah,
I'm just putting that front and center now before someone takes what we say the wrong way and our ignorant burblings about a movie. So, the first question I got to ask to all of you guys is, did the film explain the world and the environment well enough to you? Because the first thing that happened was as soon as Balram started doing his voiceovers and explaining everything, I thought, oh, you're taking the piss. If I'm honest, I honestly thought he was taking the piss of sort of like, the Chinese government have got, the internet, and they've got this, that, and the other. They've got running water and all this sort of thing. We've just got corruption and entrepreneurs. And I thought, first I just thought, okay, how am I supposed to feel about this? Am I supposed to be laughing at that because they're playing to a stereotype, or am I supposed to be sitting there going, oh, okay? I'm shocked. And I was just wondering about you guys, because every sort of satirical moment that came out, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, am I laughing at this, or am I being shocked by this? How are you guys with this?
I think in some cases it is meant to be both, which is kind of, that's kind of like, the sharpest end of satire, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to say, but certainly from my limited experience, it's kind of, when he says, you have running water and we don't, it's like us going, insert town's name here is a shithole, and we all, we can, it's our shithole, so we can laugh about it. Kind of, that's, when I think it is that Barber goes, yeah, I know what you think about me. I know what you think about my country. So, I'll get that in straight away just to put you in the picture that I know what you think. Yeah, I know what you think of India. I know what I think of India as well. And somehow I agree. But, buddy, don't forget.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's living it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was always, and again, I don't know about you guys, and feel free to just jump in because I'm kind of finding my way through this one, but it was just like I did find it funny. I did find the satire in it, but like I say, part of the satire, some, like, for example, when we watched Saltburn, being based in that kind of, there's that class system, there's, privilege, there's the upper ups who are completely devoid of understanding of how everyone else works, who are just...
Well, we've got first-hand experience of a lot of that stuff.
Exactly. So stuff that was coming out in Saltburn, we're sitting there kind of going, yep, I understand this. I see the humour in it. I understand where the humour's coming from, or I understand where the satire is coming from. Being completely, removed from the culture, I just was kind of like starting off from a point of kind of going, okay, is what I'm seeing normal, or is this hyper satirized to make you feel awkward?
I think there's a bit of tickling going on.
Mm.
There must be. I think. See, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but from my perspective, maybe it is westernized up.
Mm.
It knows it's going on to Netflix. It's been either bought by Netflix or been made, and with an eye of going on to that sort of thing. And so
it's also mostly English as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so leaning into the English side of things, maybe a bit on purpose.
Okay,
so it comes across a little bit easier. I may be completely wrong with that, but I'm willing to be proved wrong, and I'm willing to listen and stuff like that. But it comes across as, okay, we have these sort of things. Let's explain it a little bit for you, and let's westernize it up a little bit as well.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Cool. Well, I just wanted to kind of ask that question right off the bat, because the thing is, anything we say going forward could be sort of coloured by that, whether we're taking it seriously when we shouldn't do, or whether I'm saying whether I'm taking things seriously when I shouldn't do, whether I'm taking things as humorous when they're not. You know what I mean?
I think we review it as how we saw it.
Which is
not
fair.
as how we're worried about seeing it.
No, obviously. That's exactly. But I just think I just needed to get that out there because this is one of those things where, especially with satire of any stripe, if you're not on board with where the writers and the story writers and then the director and everyone else is coming from, then it is kind of getting the wrong end of the stick. It's like Galaxy Quest, isn't it? It's like where when they're trying to explain to the aliens, it's we're a TV show, like Gilligan's Island, and then all the aliens go, oh, those poor people. I didn't want to be that, sitting there kind of going, oh God, that's terrible, and everyone else is pissing themselves laughing elsewhere. But anyway, right, so let's get round to it. So this film, how did you feel about the main character?
I've got to say, I liked him at first.
Yes,
I really did. It was he drew me in to it. His character there, but it's as he starts becoming like the people he's trying to emulate. When he starts using their methods and there's cruelty involved and stuff like this, then he becomes less likable. That's it. He just becomes like those guys, and there's really not a nice one amongst them. The only nice one goes back to America. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice was doing a bit of heavy lifting then.
That was yeah.
Kind of ran over a kid.
Yeah, but the difference is they were all trying to cover it up. They were all trying to cover it up, and she wanted to go back and actually help the child. Plus, she was guilt ridden where everything the other guys just wanted to make it go away. So yeah, good. That's as good as it's going to get, right? She is.
That's a good point. Really bad people. It's a telltale sign. No remorse whatsoever. Just a fear of being caught.
And she felt terrible, right? For everything that went on there, right? That was it. She was just, once it happened, it was like she wanted to go back and help the child. She wanted to take the child to the hospital, but her boyfriend and also the cab driver, the driver himself, stopped her from doing so because it would mean, trouble and stuff. And then in the end, she couldn't take it at all when she went back to America. That was it. Because she saw what was going on there and she didn't like what her husband was turning into.
But that said, she was no better, because there was plenty of times throughout the film, and this is kind of an interesting point, is that hypocrisy, that kind of, for want of a better term, white knighting, where she's kind of like, why are you treating him like this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Yeah. Constantly sort of high-roading everyone, which is fine and absolutely right, and calling out their bullshit. But then just as easily, she'll be quite up there with kind of like, take me here, take me there, get in the car, drive off, leave him, and treat him like shit. And she even slaps him about a couple of times.
But there's a bit of a difference between that and wanting to own up for a crime as heinous as running over a small child,
Yeah, but
I say, in the grand scheme of things, she is a good character compared to the fucking rest of them.
You say that, but she still doesn't.
Is she going into villages and taking like 2/3 of their or 1/3 of their wages and threatening to assassinate their families if the drivers or wherever don't comply with what the family wants? No, she's not.
No, but then also, is she also complicit in Bowram being forced into signing that confession document? And also, is she actually going off her own back to go and tell anyone about the kid when
she didn't want him to do it? She actually comes out and says that she's not happy with what they were making him do.
Right,
he wasn't happy
but she
with
still
that
let
at
them
all.
do it.
In the end, she had no choice. That's it. They were going to make him sign it whether she wanted it or not.
But that's the kind of grey area, isn't it? I mean, guys, if you guys have any other thoughts, jump in on it. But I was just going to say, go on.
I think this is what this film does best, and it shows the balance of everyone's characters and the way that it all flips and flops and goes up and down all over the place. So you have a character which is also good and also bad at the same time. That there are many moments where we see all these characters in a good light, but also in a bad light. And it really is where they end up that is what really, really matters. But it does it in such a fluid way that we follow it so well. And you can feel the tide turning on some characters as well. But it's not a harsh thing of 1 minute they're in the room and they're all happy and jolly, and then the next they're shouting and screaming. It is a gradual process, but it does it so well. It's a slow bleed across between being good and then being bad and then being good again.
Because the thing I was going to say with Pinky, the female character, the Pinky, was that for all of her moralizing, for all of her standing up and you can't tell me what to do, you can't do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do the right thing, we're going to fix your problems, all this arrogance and powerfulness, and she wants to be sort of like dealt with on sort of like a face-to-face sort of thing. When the chips were down, she did what, without wishing to bring up like past painful history in the UK, but she did exactly what that blooming American diplomat did when she hit the kid during lockdown. She got straight on a plane and fucked off.
Oh yeah, hightailing it back. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can say that she's a good moral character and she's the best character there is, but still the fact remains that the only person who didn't actually own up to the crime and basically fucked off out the country and left everyone else with it.
As much as she stood up to the father and her husband and anyone else who stood in her way, did she really have any power in that situation whatsoever? I think it's more down to the family and what the mongoose wanted to do and what her husband wanted to do.
My impression is that, you know, she's got herself a rich husband, but she hasn't quite realised how his family has got rich by landlording, quote unquote.
Landlording, yeah.
And crooked deals and bribes. And she's quite happy to go along with the bribery stuff. She's more than happy to go along with that. But I think it's kind of, there's a line crossed for her.
Yeah, but it's a line that's crossed.
But it's also, I think there's a certain amount of fear of kind of, do I trust these jumped up thugs to properly cover this up, or is this going to blow up in my fucking face as well?
Yeah, in which case it becomes self-preservation and running away. The morality of it all goes out the blooming window. Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? It's that whole point of like, oh, she's a good person, but then she's actually not. And frankly, I think this gets to the bigger question: do you think this film ultimately, and this is a question for all three of you, do you think it's ultimately a story about how doesn't matter what you do, no matter how good of heart you are, no matter how moral you are or anything, how the system in India is so corrupt and so corrosive and so toxic that everything just reverts back to this kind of corrupt criminality. And the only people who actually get anywhere are criminals.
It's the whole thing of breaking out of what you call the chicken coop.
Yeah.
That's it. Because they're all stuck in it and they're not going anywhere until they really kind of make something of themselves. And it's finding a way to do that. So in essence, it's kind of like, from that point of view, it's like a lot of societies where the rich have a lot of power, and the poor just keep getting poorer, or the rich keep getting richer, right? To some extent, I mean, we see it over here, right? Not to the fact that, you know, we got like, you know, their situation, but it's very similar. You look at how you know, people dodge tax, right? They find a way to dodge tax. A certain very rich person who runs a very big company that you know, that has a very quick delivery system, shall we say, you know, has apparently avoided paying any tax, and yet he's got more money than God. Yeah, if you or I dodged our tax, that would be it. We'd be tracked down, you know, in a heartbeat and done for it. So I think there are parallels with a lot of societies, in, you know, slightly different ways, but the spirit is there. I think it's a generalized thing of, you know, if you've got no money, then life will be incredibly unfair to you. You won't be able to get yourself out of situations, but if you're rich, you'll be able to do what you like. And I suppose that's it does actually cause a bit of a, I suppose it asks a question: which direction do you go when you've got that money? Because in the end of it, you see Balaram trying to, there's a redemption there for him because of that accident. It's how he handles his own cab company by the end of it. And it's like, this is going to be different now I'm in charge. And he's kind of like, look, this is my car. I own this company. So, you know, the blame is on me.
So, but how has he got there, though?
And also, when he says the blame's on me, what's he really doing? He's not going to the police. He's paying the police off. He's throwing money at the family.
He is, yeah.
So he's corrupt. He's not taking ownership of anything. He's not putting anything on the line.
He's still not just running away and not dealing with it in any way, shape, or form, which is what they did. They didn't go and see the family of the child afterwards and give them any money. He's trying to do something. That's it. He's offered the other child or the brother a job. So yeah, while it's not perfect, and he should be, if he's the one to blame, then he should be paying for the crime, even though he's not. It's going to be the driver. He's still keeping that driver out of. Still not sending him off to prison. So, of course, you're going to have to see why that accident occurred in the first place. Yeah. If a child's running out in the middle of the night, 2:00 in the morning, right in front of a driver, then, whose fault is it that the child gets hit? Is it the parents for letting them out? Is it the child for running in front of that car? Or is it that driver for not having the fucking reactions of a small woodland creature to avoid that child?
I mean, I guess the question is does the viewer become more corrupt as well by viewing this and part of this? Because as you're doing right now, you're kind of justifying everything. Whereas if that thing that happened right then at the end with Barham sort of owning up to his driver making the mistake and paying off the parents and all that and paying off the police. But not only that, but then taking the son, the remaining surviving son, off the streets to become a driver for him. I mean, that's win-win-win across the board for him. If you saw that right at the start, you would have been right in your mind saying, "Oh, that's the villain. That's the crime boss right there."
Yeah.
But by the time you get to the end, you've gone through so much other shit.
Yeah.
There's so many other corrupt people. You go, "Oh, no, he's the right and upstanding person." But it's like, no, he isn't.
No,
he's exactly the same as everyone else.
He's not right and upstanding.
Well, no, I wouldn't say he's the same, because it's kind of like, if he's one of his drivers fuck up, does he go have the entire family killed?
Yeah,
No.
this is.
You know what I mean? And he's kind of it's nothing explicitly said, but he does say he's trying to do this differently. He has a contract. He's not pretending to be their dad. He's not just doing the landlord. Well, yes, he's using his money corruptly, but at the same time, is he actually doing the other half? The menace, the mayhem, the violence as well. I get the impression that he's not. Yeah. And it's kind of what he's doing is, yes, it's corrupt, but the family's got some money. The driver's still in a job, means he's not just in a one-way shoot to poverty and taking the rest of his family down. He's I wouldn't say he's a modern-day Robin Hood. That's too far, but he's splashed around some cash, which is going to help some people out, even if he's doing it immorally.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the levels.
And if you think of the balance of, you could just do nothing.
Exactly. He could.
But
and
as it is, he is redistributing some wealth, and that money will make a difference to people. And if his business is good and honest and a contract, well, the elder brother's got himself a good deal. It's a far better deal than the deal he had as a driver, where he's living literally, on a shelf in a base in a garage.
It's I mean, I get what you say, Lee, about it on paper, right? If you write that one little scene down where he does that, then it's like, hello, he's up some villainy here.
Yeah.
But then you look at the rest of that society, the people he's come up against, how everybody gets treated disgustingly by these people who are in charge. And he kind of, he's not perfect, right? Not at all, right? And he's done what he's done. He's killed a man in cold blood to get the money to do what he's done, right? So he's still a murderer, okay, on that count, where that's a deliberate move by him. Okay, that is on him for what he did, right?
Right.
But his methods with everything else, when it comes to his employees and stuff like that, as Jim said, he's not using menace to get what he wants. He's not treating people the same way that all the other arseholes are treating their employees. You know, you see how the drivers live down in the fucking basement, down in the car park. Yeah, right. He's, I don't know. He's not perfect. However, compared to the rest, and this is the same goes for Pinky, right?
Right.
She's nowhere near as bad as the rest of them, right? She's not perfect, again, as you say. However, compared to that lot, she is, she is a saint compared to that lot.
Yeah. Except for the fact that she killed a kid and ran off.
Yep. And except for the fact that the people in the family of that bloke have gone round, they've obviously, they've threatened, they may have used menace, they may have actually killed people in the past. You see that news report at the end, they slaughter an entire family gets slaughtered by the end of that. Right? And it's not like she went out to deliberately kill a child. That's it. It's not, that was not her intent that evening. She didn't have that on a bingo card for that night.
Well, no.
Have a drink, run a child over. There you go. Lovely. Big O. 1 for 1, teddy bear.
Yeah. You won a chamois leather. Now get that stain out the bumper.
In 6. A speedboat can drive.
Okay.
So it's levels. I think it's levels of evil, isn't it? Really, it's levels of corruption. It's levels of criminality.
Well, you can see Balram trying to get away from that as well, as he removes himself away from all the other workers, all the other cabbies. He becomes isolated from them, doesn't he?
Because they make a comment about sisters and mothers, and he's not quite comfortable with that. He's quite happy taking the piss out of everyone, up until that point. It's the old Isaac Hayes maneuver, where he was with South Park, and he was quite happy to ride that South Park train, having the Mickey taken out of various religions and God knows what else. And then I think they made a joke about something he believed in, and he was like, I'm done.
Or was that the chef?
Yeah, the chef.
Right.
I can't remember what it was they did, but he was like, oh, hold on, that's a bit close to home. I'm out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, what I think this film does brilliantly is you're told that there is a murder in the very beginning, or very, very close to the start as well. And when you see the kid get run over and him take the fall for it, you think that's the murder.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that as well. And then it does the rug pull.
Yeah. That's not the murder. No, it's a sook. Yeah, him getting murdered brutally on the floor in the pouring rain for money. That's the murder.
Don't mind the broken glass on the floor, sir. Just have a look at the bottle.
Yeah.
Just have a look at the tire.
I think it does it so well. But it shows you can see him turning from he wants to learn how to drive. He wants to get out of the poverty that his family is in, but for good reasons, to help them out, to send money back to the family, to bring them out.
Well, up to a point.
He knows about his grandma. He's got a thing about his grandma anyway.
Yeah.
You sucked my father dry and left him to die. You old sod.
Yeah.
But then, working his way out, and then you see what I think it's once the mongoose has the contract signed and in the pocket and everything, then it's like, hang on a minute, I need to get out of this. But there's lots of little things, especially with like the number, when he's the number 2 driver and you have the number 1 driver. what this film does beautifully is the levels of class all over the place. So you have levels of class with the drivers, even with all the masters. They all have levels of class as well that all fluctuate all over the place. And then when he goes back to his village, he thinks he's going to be, oh, look, here he is. He brings all the money, and he's belittled by his grandmother. And he's like, oh, no, fuck this. I am off.
Well, that was going to be my next thing. I mean, do you think it's not just about class in terms of going up the ranks? The film's more about freedom.
Yeah.
And the fact that everything's corrupt. Everything's corrupt, but it's corrupt as corrupt below as it is above. And there's, you're in a social structure that literally just says, you are going here in this box and you will stay here forever. Balaram, you are going to go to this tea shop. We have got you a wife. You will stay here. You will give us all your money so you can't escape, effectively. And, and if you don't, and if you try to leave, we're going to guilt trip the fuck out of you because you're not paying for the 7 people in the family or the 12 people in the family. And then if he goes, so he's, and then as soon as he has the, what was it? As soon as they have the confession, it's like the first person to bloody sign it was his grandmother.
Yeah.
Sort of, and it's all about constricting him into a position. Grandmother's doing it because she wants him to pay, because he's not doing what she wants.
Okay, well, is he wrong for wanting to get away from the family then?
I'm not saying he's wrong. In fact, I'm to be quite honest, it's one of those culture moments where I was sitting there going, why the fuck is he putting up with this at all?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, well, I don't understand the culture at this point, because I'm just looking at this and it's like there's that wizened old cow just giving him and his dad an absolute fucking earful for everything while sitting on a fat ass. And then basically ruining his life from literally from day one. He can't go to the school because he's too thick. Because he's not brainy enough now, because they've not sent off the forms to Delhi, and it's just levels of corruption and control all the way through. So if you look at the film as like a parable on freedom, it's a bit like what John Campion was saying about Oliver and Sir James in Saltburn. It's like you've only got power as long as people let you have that power. Do you know what I mean? It's like Sir James wants to sort of guilt trip Oliver into fucking off by saying, I'm sorry, you can't stay here anymore. And Oliver just going, well, actually, I think I can.
Yeah.
Well, it's like,
look at the platform as well. When you're up above on the platform, you have the power to do good.
Yeah.
But once you get further and further down, you're really restricted on how much good you can do, how much good you can pass down as well.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's the whole thing in White Tiger is all about, once you're in a box, you can't go anywhere, and if you decide that actually this is not for you, then no one's actually got power over you. The only reason people have got power over you is when you do something like, your master, as it were, his wife basically runs over a kid and you take the fall for it. That's the only bit where you're really trapped. But there's no difference between that fake, confession on a piece of paper to the grandmother saying, "Oh, you're going to get married to a lady we found. You'll get married in a year."
Yeah, I suppose
it's all about just holding everyone in place. And then when Balaram gets there, he's number 2 driver. The first thing he does is immediately try and Shanghai the number 1 position by fucking the geezer over.
So why is he? I probably know the answer to this, but why is he more reluctant to say no, I didn't kill this kid, than actually just marry someone? Because surely it should be easier to turn around and say, "Fuck off! I am not saying that I killed this kid." Tough. Although probably he'd end up in a ditch. There you go. There's my answer.
Well, also it's because even if he does, if he admits to it, he carries on working. He's in a bit of a cat's cradle there. He can carry on working for them, but he can't be anything other than the worker. He's just trapped as being the driver forever until they're bored of him or get someone else.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It sounds very similar.
Mm.
The sort of thing he gets trapped in,
Mm.
where he can't get out. It sounds very similar to that thing that we're talking about during the World Cup, the kafala system.
What's
Have you
that?
heard of it?
No,
It's
go on.
where they get workers in, they
Mm.
take their passports from them, they say, "Oh, you've got a debt, you've got to repay," and the pay is so bad that they literally never pay off that debt, so they are continually working, and they can't get away because they've got no passport to get home.
Mm.
And there was reportedly a lot of that going on during the last World Cup when it came to building cities and stuff like this. And it sounds a little bit similar to the sort of situation that the guy that Balram finds himself in with this.
Yeah.
And it's like his grandmother is kind of doing that, taking most of the money off him, so he can't
escape.
He can't escape. He can't better himself to the point where he doesn't, he can go and do something else where he can make his life better. He's always kept down unless he literally starves himself.
Well, it's the selfishness, it's the self-preservation thing, and that's the other element, isn't it? It's he'd rather admit to running over a kid and having that being held over him in blackmail, and stay in the position he's in, than basically leave, go back to the family, and then spend forever in a tea shop with a wife that he doesn't love, that and a family that doesn't like him or respect him, and just sees him as another drone to just ferry money to and from them while they do fuck all.
Yeah. And at first they're thankful when he's bringing the money in, but then when the money starts drying up, they get quite aggressive about it. Well, you haven't sent us money for so many months. You need that bit where his grandmother sends him a message. Oh, you haven't sent us money for the last 6 months. We really need you to send us some money. Send us some money. Money.
Yeah, and then sends over his second cousin.
Yes.
Yeah.
To just
Like,
get
who are
another
you?
job. Yeah. Who the fuck are you? Exactly. And again, it's just selfishness and corruption on all levels, and then bracketing people into pigeonholes. So the film's not only about social class and classism and castes and all that kind of thing. It's all about freedom and the lack of it in all levels.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was having a look on IMDb and a few other places, and I found apparently this has been quite a controversial movie in India.
Yeah, it has.
And
that?
I see a lot of like 1-star reviews. They're not copy and paste from the same thing, but they were definitely written to a template. And it's always going, it sends the wrong message. As this young man, this isn't the only way killing people. This young man could have got an education. It's kind of, you didn't see the movie, did you?
Yeah,
he got
exactly.
pulled out of school. He didn't have an option for this sort of stuff. And if you think this is a movie that's saying, hey, kids, murder your master and get rich, I think you're watching the wrong movie, or watching it upside down, or
Yeah.
in Sanskrit or something. I don't know. But that isn't what the movie is saying at all. It's not like, right, here's how to get rich. First, ingrace yourself.
Yeah.
It's not like, that isn't what it's saying at all.
Yeah. That's almost where it deviates from something like Parasite, or like Saltburn, in that classism thing of it. He's not deliberately doing it to usurp his master or anything. He's deliberately putting himself into another level of serfdom, but it's a level of serfdom he's willing to tolerate because it's freedom from the shit behind him.
And he tries to give it a fair go, and
Yeah.
and he gets absolutely shafted, you know.
Mm.
You know when Pinky's talking to him and saying, you know, because she has a little bit of a go at him, and he looks a bit unwashed and unclean and stuff like that, and he's like, no, but you are my family. Yeah, I want to serve you. And she's like, no, stop talking about all that shit. Do you think he believes that at that time? Do you think he actually thinks, well, I'm part of this family now. I'm in here. I can do this for the rest of my life. I'm quite content doing this because I get to see the diplomats. I get to see was it a president that got voted in, or some sort of politician that got voted in, and drive them around and see the luxurious places? Or do you think that is part of his plan? He has a plan to get out of that, or what?
I mean,
does he actually believe that?
I don't think he's a subcontinent's Oliver Quick. I think that's kind of, he likes the sort of mantle of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But the impression I get is kind of, even this whole sending this email is like a semi-ironic thing almost. And it is kind of, he's just seeing how far he can go, but he's doing things his way. I think he's drawn a line in the sand of what he's willing to do, what he's not willing to do. And he doesn't just wish to say just become the apex predator. But how you know how it goes, well, depends. You know what I mean? There's competition. Will he have to be ruthless again? How, you know, these are all endlessly debatable. Really, what next? What does the next 10 years hold for him?
Well, to get the driver's position, he had to go up there and get the driving license, and then speak to the person at the gate and get his foot in at the gate. And that's what he did with the Chinese diplomat as well, or the Chinese president.
That driving lesson at the beginning, though. That was brilliant. I love that.
You sister fucker.
yeah. The only way to really pass is to lean out the window and go fast. He's going fast. You go fast and cut him up and give him the finger.
Hey, you motherfucker!
Yeah, I mean, as far as it goes, I think he, as Jim said, I think he wanted to give the position a fair shake. I don't think he had a malicious intent to basically better himself beyond where he was. And that goes back to another bit about the culture that I don't quite get. Was he seemed, well, firstly, he had that obsequious kind of like, you are my family, you are everything, I am being pleasant to you, love me kind of thing. But that seemed like a more of a defensive thing, just so that he can stay in the position he's in. Because, you know, they're in a country where, you know, the workforce is a dime a dozen. And so, to me, I thought he had no intent of going any further than where he was. Because he never even thought about doing all the scams that the other drivers later teach him.
It's true, yeah.
So,
I mean, he is extremely naive. He is kind of, he's into a completely different world. And he is completely out of his, you know, more than out of his depth. I mean,
yeah, I
think the film visually does a very good job of showing you the difference between rural India and life in the city. And it's, you know, it's a big gulf. Even for, you know, a job as a driver, you know, he says, oh, you get a bed. Oh, no, a floor's fine.
Yeah.
A bed of my own? No, surely not.
Yeah.
And so he has no idea about mobile phones or computers or nearly anything. I mean, you know what I mean? Things we all take for granted.
Oh, I did love that. We said, do you know what the internet is? He goes, no, sir, but I can go to the market and get you 6 or 7 of them. It's like, bless you.
Yeah. But, you know, again, that goes back to what I was saying before about the people who were being nice to him were actually mocking him.
In a way, yeah. But then did you see he was mocking them as well? Like when they were in the car and he scratched his head and the bloke went, what was that? And he went, oh, I'm just, you know, praying because that's a holy tree over there.
Mm.
And he did that with everything. As he said, I must have, was it as we were driving, I must have prayed towards every tree that we came across, and so did they.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So that's the thing. It's kind of like, yeah, he's playing them, but he's not doing anything malicious.
No.
And it is only once he gets deliberately framed for the murder, and then realizes he's got that as a sort of sword of Damocles over his head. That's when it's kind of like, and that the replacement is on its way.
Yes, that it's the replacement thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the point at which he changes, because it becomes perfectly clear to him what was, I suspect, perfectly clear to all of us, from the start, which is, he's thinking job for life.
Yeah.
And we're all sitting there, and I certainly was thinking, yeah, at any minute now, you're as disposable as the fucking drinks that they're throwing away. It's only a matter of time. The bloke that you fucked over, driver number one, been in the family for 21 years, and it's like, oh, he's a Muslim, right? Get rid of him.
Mm.
Yeah.
And and what Barham doesn't realize is what he did to that driver one is exactly what's about to happen to him.
Yeah.
And then it clicks, and that's the thing. It clicks. Whether he feels remorse for what he did to driver number one is maybe a completely different discussion, but
that's one of those. I think he does say he does actually feel sorry, and then, but later on he discovers kind of actually what he's condemned him to. When they're the really sort of skeevy, I wouldn't say a head driver, but I'd say ringleader.
Yeah.
It says, if you lose your job, this is what happens. Boom.
Yeah.
You drop right out the caste system, you go directly to the bottom.
But when Balram mentions about praying to, I think it's like one Muhammad, and you can just see that driver's face just drop. It's like, oh, I've been nabbed here, haven't I? And then he's like, oh, I'm very sorry, sir. And the tables just turned immediately. And you're like, oh, you son of a bitch. But then again, to get in high up in life, you have to be a bit of a bastard.
Yeah, but that's the point, isn't it? That's the whole society is built around that.
Yeah.
See, I mean, I know I'm not holding our society up as any particular paragon of this shit, but no,
because they're all bastards.
Everyone's bastards. But you do feel that we're all sitting in houses, right? I mean, we've all in some fashion earned our way to where we are. But I don't think we did it by climbing over the bodies of dozens of people before us and deliberately throwing people under a bus to do it. Nah. I mean, maybe to a little degree. I mean, I wouldn't look under my patio or anything, but
Can I just ask, by the way, because there was one bit that I felt incredibly sad watching. It was upsetting to see it, and it was when they're getting him to sign the contract, the confession, and they're saying to him, "Are you all right? You okay?" And he's looking at him and he's smiling at him, and you just see tears rolling down his face. And that was just so, I don't know. I was quite distressed watching that bit. It was just really kind of, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
It just really was. I mean, whatever he done to someone else I don't know. Yeah.
It
was a funny scene because it's like, it is actually just really distressing and actually quite frightening. The more that scene goes on, and the more friendly they are, the more you think, oh my God, this is worse than I thought. This is really, really bad.
It's
and you see kind of his maybe innocence is the wrong word, but you see what a little fish he is in it, swimming around in a world full of giant horrors, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Of kind of So the penny's dropping of kind of like just how fucked he is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty harsh scene because it's the other thing is he's trapped by his own internal belief that he's doing the right thing by his master. So he's got the smile on his face, kind of like saying, I'm doing the right thing. I am being good. It's a bit like, having the friendly family pet, and then, while it's wagging its tail, you're putting it out in the garden because you fucking had enough of it or something. You just, there's something inherently cruel about it, because not only is it fucking him over, but he's trapped in this kind of like, how can I put it? In a kind of what's the word that means you can hold two ideas in your head that contradict? I can never remember the bloody word.
Paradox.
No. It's
human.
Yeah. No, there is a phrase, but it doesn't matter. But
cognitive dissonance.
That's it. Dissonance.
Yes.
That's it. The cognitive dissonance. He's holding in his mind the thought that he's being good, he's doing right, and everyone approves of him, and he's being loved for what he's doing. But then the other part of his mind is going, they've fucked me, but what can I do? And that bit is really, really quite rough.
Yeah.
But also, it kind of highlights that other thing which I was kind of trying to get my head around, which is that everyone sort of almost like the dinner in the Hitchhiker in was it Restaurant at the End of the Universe. The dinner in that comes up, and it's a creature that literally sits there and goes, I've been eating lots of greens, and I think you'll find my rump is very tasty when you take a slice of that, and it'll be absolutely lovely for you if you have it nice and cooked and all this sort of thing. And I'm just going to go off and shoot myself. Very good, sir. Very good, sir. And it reminded me a bit like that he's literally been born to be a serf, to be a servant, to be a, to be the position, to be the thing he is. And it's just like, that doesn't compute with me at all. There's so little, it's like he's a drone in a hive. He's only got one role, and he's happy to do it.
I think you're right with like the being the drone, but he has been shown compassion by a Sook when the mongoose leaves. And then he's just left out, oh, now I can just serve my true master. And he's got a smile on his face, and he's no, just talk to me by my first name. Don't call me a master. Stop calling me a master. And it gets very personable.
Yeah,
and
but
then
even that doesn't last.
It doesn't last, but it breaks down barriers. Balaram automatically thinks, well, this is my family now. And there's no way you can treat me bad. And when he is signing that thing, and he has tears coming down his face, and he's smiling, and he doesn't know what to think. It's what I'm being betrayed by the people I love for the people I love.
Yeah.
And Asuk is saying, we don't have to do this for him. And the mongoose is like, no, there's no other way of doing this. It has to be this way. Because he doesn't give a shit. There are a million drivers out there that can just replace him straight away.
Yeah.
But it's the heartbreak that he feels of his family has betrayed him then. Because all he has is Pinky and her husband as the family, really. I think he looks up to them as family, and he will wait on them until the end of time.
But even then, they quite cheerfully will fuck him over at a moment's notice.
But
when it's her birthday, and what's she do? Oh, we're going to treat you well. Thank you very much, Maharaj. They dress him up like a fucking dancing monkey, stick him in the car, go off and have a party for 4.5 hours. He nods off in the car, and the first thing they do is go and slam him awake. And then once he's awake and he says, I'm going to drive, they drive him to like the dead end of fucking nowhere and then just drop him off and then fuck off. God no. And to be quite honest, I think they only came back because they finished their shag and they wanted to drive the rest of the way. It's just like, you know, it's every single person in there pretending to be his friend. It's abhorrent. You know, it's not even close to being the same, but it used to remind me of being a cartoon. It's like that whole thing of everyone's your friend. Everyone's, as long as you're useful, they're your friend. There's things, you know, they're nice to you. They're happy to be around you. You're the funniest person in the room. It's all these things, you know, it's really cool until you're not useful.
Yeah.
Until you know, and then all of a sudden, they're grumpy. They don't want to be near you. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to be anything. They won't discuss anything, say anything. They won't make eye contact with you. And it's that thing. It's that, you know, he's not, you know, everyone's saying, oh, Pinky's good, and, you know, Ashok shows him a bit of modicum of humanity, but Ashok doesn't. Ashok's just stuck with one person left in the house. Everyone else has fucked off. So, okay, it's him. Okay, we'll be friends for a while.
But how many other drivers have got up and played video games with Asuk?
Who knows?
Who knows?
I get the feeling that was the only one.
Yeah, but that's the point. You don't. The point is, you only get you only get Balram's point of view, and he's telling you that this is a great thing. This is an amazing thing. But is it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you know, you only got his point of view, and he's always got a permanent smile on his face because everyone's paying him money, and he's happy. He wouldn't even take the bloody money at one point. You know, he's driving along, and they're saying, "Oh, we're going to pay you a standard 3,000 rupees," and he's like, "Oh, half of that will be more than enough." You know, he's obsequious, he's serving, but that's because he's been it's been ingrained into him by the looks of things.
Yeah,
and so. Yeah. Just moving on a little bit, because time is moving on. Time is on my side.
Oh, God.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say one thing. How did we feel about, because this is the bit I had a bit of my eye twitched a bit, the end. And what I mean by that is, once he's shanked a sock and then fucked off in his car, was I the only one thinking they've taken so much time to build the character up, build the world up, build the environment, get you to understand how everything goes, that suddenly it just jumps straight to, and I made myself a millionaire and I own this company. Thanks very much and goodbye. It just sort of went blah, 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 done. How did you guys feel about that?
Well, I felt with the end, it was kind of, Chris, you know, we've had this sort of framing device with him, you know, in the office, writing a letter, dictating the story. And I think actually the reveal of what his business was actually like was a bit of a surprise, because it's kind of, he's actually not a very big business at all, to be honest.
No.
You know what I mean? I thought that was that sort of tickled me. And I thought that was good, because it kind of, if he was actually, like, you know, as big an entrepreneur as I thought he was, and I've been led to believe, I would have felt, whoa, there's a big chunk of story I'd like to hear here, please. Whereas I could see how he went from the murder to setting that up, because it wouldn't take that much money to set up that, because it was a backstreet car hire firm. He's working his way up by big, you know, undoubtedly. But, you know, it's very much, that's probably second premises, maybe, from somewhere smaller.
Right.
And, you know, he's still got a long way to go.
Yeah. What about you, Dal? How did you feel about the end?
It's I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay. I think there's a lovely little slant, I think, against. There's a comment he makes, and it's that one comment about the reason why the police didn't capture him was because his face looks like 1,001 different people.
Yeah,
1,000
other men in India.
Yeah, that's it. He's saying they all look the same, and I think with the comment about the West, people in the West, that's it. They're on a time limit now. It's like the future is not theirs, it's ours. I thought that was I mean, I laughed when he said that because I could see the whole thing of white people thinking that anybody that's not white, everybody looks the same. That's the comment. I think it was trying to have a pop at, with that.
Yeah.
So that kind of made me chuckle a little bit.
Yeah.
With that. But the rest of it, I mean, he's such a different character by the end of it than he was to begin with. He doesn't even look the same,
No. But were you okay with the speed at which it suddenly just unrolls? That's what I'm
saying. We don't get a passage of time, so we don't know what the how long it is he's been doing what he's doing. How long ago
it's
that
not
story
that
was.
long, because you see he's still got his little cousin who isn't much bigger at
right,
all.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's not that long.
Yeah.
I get the impression he's only just pulled this off, kind of, within a year or so.
Well, you know what? Money can get you a lot there, right? I mean, he marches into the police, the police chief's office, and goes, "This is your money." What do you mean? Well, what for? He goes, "Well, for all the things you're going to do for me in the future." And that's it. So with that, I mean, he's had help getting to that position.
I mean, what's the height? It was 4 million rupees,
something like that.
Yeah.
But he gave him $1 million.
Yeah.
He gave him,
So you got 3 million rupees, which goes quite a long way, and enough to get him started up. And I reckon this is only maybe a year or two down the line afterwards, judging from the premises and the number of cars he seems to have. But he's already getting sort of good bookings, if you see what I mean. So I don't think it's sort of too quick for me. It feels quite logical, considering he did have a fairly big wedge to get set up somewhere that's probably really cheap to set up in. The biggest outlay we're getting the vehicles.
What he says about getting rid of the competition as well. If you're working for a company where you're being pretty shittily treated, and you hear there's a guy who's actually not treating his staff so badly, in fact treating them quite well, you're going to up and leave that old company, and you're going to go to the one where you're going to get treated better.
Which would be fine if that was what he was doing. He didn't. What he did was he bribed the police, got the police to basically shut down every rival company on a trumped up charge.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
on a trumped up charge of their licenses not being up to date. So he's
just the biggest competition that he had, wasn't it? Just one company?
No, all of them.
It was all of them.
Yeah. So then there was. Right. So basically, then what he does is he gets loads of drivers put on the streets and out of work, and then says, "Come and work for me."
And takes all their contracts up as well.
And takes all their contracts. Yeah. So this goes back to what I was saying before. He, on the one hand, he looks like he's doing a sort of altruistic thing by saying, "Come and work for me," but he's the only game in town. So all he's done is he's, using the kid who gets run over at the end. He goes, "Oh, your son has been run over. I'm very sorry about that. Here's a couple of 1,000 rupees to pay it all off. I've paid off the police. They're not going to charge me. And your son can come work for me as a driver." That's not an altruistic thing. That's literally he's just doing what he's done, what everyone did to him. He's basically putting this kid into servitude.
I know they have contracts. He's doing something very different to what the families did.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is at least a contract there, and not that kind of. He's not running it like sort of this pretend family.
Yeah, it didn't strike me. It didn't strike me as particularly equitable. I'll be honest with you, but I'll take your
He's
point.
far more equitable than what he was offered.
Yeah. Well, again, but this is what I'm saying. Going back to the original thing about the corruption and the social, acceptance coming about from us watching this for so long. Going, well, it's not as bad as it could have been. Whereas, like right at the start, we would have been like, "Fucking hell, this is a bit much." And
clearly, the only way of doing things is being corrupt. That's the only way you can make your way up there. Up to the pinnacle. But just with regards to the end, I'm very happy with the way it finished. I think on the second viewing, it works even better.
Right.
Not because you know where it's going, but it just any longer, and it would have been too long. It's already quite a long film anyway. And you slam another 20 minutes on. Where else are you going to go with that? The actual story is with him getting up there and with the family.
Well,
then to have something else tacked on the end would feel very. It just wouldn't work for me.
It would, okay, so because the thing, just to cap it all off, because I did say this at the beginning, I'd talk about the end. The thing I thought, and maybe I'm over egging the pudding on how much I like this film, but this film reminded me of things like Goodfellas and stuff like that, where you watch the kid, or Once Upon a Time in America, where you start off with a very young kid and you watch him grow up and become the elder statesman, essentially working his way through the things, and maybe even to a certain degree Godfather, but I'm not putting it on the same par as that. But the fact of the matter is it follows that same trajectory. So when he gets away and it just suddenly goes done and we're out, to me that felt a little rushed. I was kind of thinking to myself, do you know what, I know you were saying it was already a long film, but I could have actually stood for another 35 minutes of, well, how did he approach the police? What problems would he have faced?
Yeah. Happily, I could have watched another hour of that.
And you've literally gone through with all the minutiae of him working his way up, working his way out, getting corrupted, becoming the worm that turns. And it's all been taking its leisurely time to get to that point. So for it to suddenly sprint for the end, I was kind of like, do you know what? Normally I don't say this, but I could have stood, as you say, Jim, another 30, 40 minutes of this. Because
Give me more.
Yeah, because I could have seen, I can't just, it felt a bit, it went from being Goodfellas to Guy Ritchie. It was like, 1 minute we're seeing everything in minute detail, in perfect, in almost real time as he kind of grows up from a kid to this, put upon driver who then makes a break for it. And then all of a sudden it goes, and then I threw some cash at the police, and then I got all my rivals thrown away and locked up in jail, and then I became an entrepreneur and a businessman. Thank you very much and good night.
But it's just echoing the family that he's just left.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, you don't get to see that. It just happens. You're just told that it happens, and that's that. Whereas I would have happily seen him, approach the police, get that thing on his side, then buy himself a little small holding, 1 or 2 drivers, get the drivers to sort of like put the word around on the street for the other drivers, then him getting the other cab companies put out of business. Do you know what I mean? You could have, I suppose not necessarily do it this way, but you could have made it a TV series. You could have made it like 4 or 5 hour long episodes, and like The Sopranos or something, as he goes from being, just owning a titty bar to suddenly becoming the mob boss of New York. It just felt like it's taken its own merry time to get to that point before he runs off, and I thought, yeah, this is really good, and it carries on, and it suddenly just goes, and I became a success. Thank you and good night.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, I could have watched another hour of that. That would have worked. I think you're talking about a totally different film there, though. But I agree with it. I think the film and the story have already told you what he does to get there, though. What happens next? You already know that because we've already lived that with the family. We've seen the corruption. We've seen the bribes and the distortion going through the family and life. And yet you'll just be redoing that again.
But would you? Because the thing is also, you've also got the thing of he's moved to the other city. Would the family come after him? Would a Shock's family come after him? You know, there's all sorts of stuff that's springing out of just murdering his master by the side of the road, leaving him in the mud.
Yeah.
Or is that some kind of comment on the fact that the kid who gets run over initially, you know, they just say, oh, it happens, people won't come looking for him. Is that the comment? You know, oh, a Shock got shanked by the side of the road by his driver, nobody's going to bother.
I love that comment about, you know, oh, people who have kids, or people who live here have like 7 or 8 kids. That one won't be missed.
Yeah, exactly. And that was what I was wondering. You know, is that kind of where they were heading? Is that what
possibly? Because Asuk was the youngest, wasn't he?
Yeah, you know, and you know they don't really care about him. You know, if that's what he was aiming at, then fair enough. But it didn't seem particularly clear as a thing to me. But so yeah, so I strangely enough, I kind of wanted more, which is probably the highest compliment I could pay the film. You know, I didn't
doesn't
want
happen often, does it?
No, I didn't want it to end. I wanted to get a bit more meat on the bone for the last third. But there you go. Did you feel the same, Jim? I mean, I know you say
I'd happily watch more, but I kind of think the thrust of the film was to not jump to this glittering future that you've imagined he has, but to show you something that's a lot more low key. And it is kind of asking you, well, it's leaving you the questions, you know, what do you think about that? Is he right? Is he wrong? Where does he go from here? What do you think? Because I think this film is very, I say it's not a film about going, hey, kids, do this. Or, hey, this is right. Hey, this is wrong even. Yeah. It's saying, this is how it is. You know, what do you think? I mean, like for me, you know, by the end of the film, you know, I understand everything he's done and why he's done it, though I can't necessarily forgive it. Yeah. I can forgive some, but not other bits. Murder is quite harsh. Nicking the bribe money, that feels sort of fair game. If you steal some illegal money, well, you know what I mean. But slitting someone's throat with a bottle, that's maybe going a bit far. Was that really necessary? But you know, I understand why he'd want to do that completely because I've been on his journey. Yeah, and you know, the fact that he isn't just AKing every motherfucker in sight with 4 million in cheaply bought arms and heavy assault weapons is probably a credit to him. Yeah. He's actually started a cab business, not a paramilitary unit to wipe out everyone who pissed him off. Yeah. Which, you know,
most of these things do go.
That's the American dream way of doing it, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Goes without saying. I don't know why we're even talking about it that way. It makes perfect sense. Yeah. Darren, any last thoughts? Because I think we're going to wrap it up. Anything you'd like to add, sir?
No, I think we've all said, we've covered all our bases on this one, I think.
Cool. Okay. Jim, any last thoughts?
Not particularly. It's a film we could endlessly discuss, though, you know what I mean? Because I think that is what's interesting about it. And the fact it actually does involve you And, it takes you into a world deep enough so, you do have a lot of questions and a lot of conflicts and things aren't black and white. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Elton?
No, I'm done. I think it's a good discussion on that.
Cool.
More than what I thought we would get as well. So that's good.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. Well, the discussion doesn't end there. As ever, if anybody else listening to this has any other thoughts and watch White Tiger and think, they didn't mention this, that, or the other, then feel free to jump onto the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast, and leave a comment under the episode, or send us an email in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, and maybe we'll carry on next week. And speaking of next week, he says, hovering over the pause button, it's Darren's turn. Darren.
Yes.
Do you have a movie for us next week?
I certainly do.
You do?
Yes.
Well, I would be fucked. How about that?
Well, I'd rather you wouldn't, but, there you go. Steady on. It's not that good.
I don't know yet. What have you got for us, sir?
Okay, so we're carrying on the theme of Eat the Rich.
Oh my God!
Because I think this has become the unexpected. It's just become, we've just stumbled into this season. I think.
Jesus Christ!
So I'm going to carry that on.
Yeah, go on.
With a slightly less serious film,
okay,
which is more about blood and guts and God knows what else.
Cool.
And violence and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little bit of a fan of Samara Weaving. I've seen her in a few things.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah. There is a film that came out a couple of years ago that I did actually buy on Blu-ray because I thought I liked the look of it, and there was no way I'm going to see it on any streaming platform, so I just went off and just bought the disc. And it's an enjoyable little romp, this one.
Yes.
It's a film called Ready or Not.
Here I come. You can't hide.
Indeed. A film that is about a young woman who's dating this guy who happens to be a member of a very rich family. And, she goes to their place for a weekend to get introduced to the rest of the actual family, little knowing that even though they're about to get married, there is a certain ritual that she needs to go through to prove her worth. And I will say no more than that.
Well, I okay. Well, there you go. Ready or Not. Nice choice.
It's on Disney Plus at the moment.
Disney Plus.
Yep.
It does amuse me, really, considering the movie.
Yeah, I was going to say not since the black hole of Disney shocked me so much.
Indeed.
Right. So
well, it's not, I don't think it's an actual Disney film. This one, it's one of their spin-off companies. It's actually just on there. That's it. I've looked at all the other services. I haven't got it there.
Okay.
But
right.
Yeah.
Well.
So
yes.
Ready or Not.
Ready or Not. So once again, for the second time this year, Samara Weaving reappears to make us all think Margot Robbie's slumming it.
Exactly, yeah. she's turning. I think Samara Weaving's turning into the equivalent of the horror Margot Robbie.
Yes,
because she seems to be in a lot of these sort of films that involve blood, gore, and God knows what else.
Indeed. So, okay then. Well, let's go around the table. Jim, have you seen this before?
I have. We watched this not too long ago, actually.
Interesting. Okay. Are you looking forward to seeing it?
Yeah, I'm interested to go back to it. I had fun with it. It was a good Saturday night movie, I seem to recall. So,
okay.
Look at it again.
Cool. Elton, what about you?
No, never seen this, so I will give it a go.
Yeah, and
impress me.
And I will be honest with you, I have not seen this. I've seen bits of it so many times that I feel like I know it, but I haven't actually seen it. So we'll see how this goes. But as ever, this will be interesting to check it out, I think, because I've got something in my head as to what it's going to be like, but we'll see.
It's pre-pandemic as well, 2019.
God, those innocent days when you can actually be in the same room with someone, not have to cover everything in alcohol in the worst way.
What was that a comedian once said? Yeah, do you remember that age when we were baptizing fruit?
Yeah. So there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, next week we'll be back for Ready or Not. Here I come. You can't hide. And yes, and we will be around to see that and review it. But before we go, let's just head over to Pimp's Corner. And Jim, what's going on in the land of Hypnagoria?
I've just released another chapter of Universal Horror History, and there's another one coming soon.
Cool. That's good. That's good to know. And that's all over at hypnagoria.com, yes?
It is indeed.
Yes. By the way, I love those black and white images. I love those sketches you're doing.
Thank you. I enjoy doing them. They take ages, but they are worth it.
I was going to say they look particularly complex, but they were really cool. So nice. Okay. And what about you, Elton? What's going on with you apart from your project, which you cannot speak?
Well, that was it. Yeah, it is a project. And next week I will have more on that. But until then, I'm unbungoed in saying anything. So
unbungoed.
I will shut up now. So.
The python picked a passion fruit, the marmoset a mandarin. Now, will it be? Will it be? Can I just Can I just ask a quick question? Is it going to be a Rogue 2 media thing or not? Okay. Oh, there you go. So you're unbongoed by your own group.
Yeah. Higher ups have just said no, not just yet.
The higher ups. You are the higher up.
What? You answer to a power higher than yourself?
Oh, there are higher ups.
Oh my God! Is it the Illuminati of air fryers?
No, nothing to do with fucking air fryers.
Okay, cool. As long as it's not. Right, okay. And as ever, Darren, are you part of the Illuminati of air fryers?
I'm always, just getting down on my bad self in a Illuminati way, whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if you were going to just air fry it or something.
Oh, you can air fry anything,
Right, okay. In which case,
eggs, granddad, anything you like.
I've got nipples, Darren. Can you air fry me?
I can air fry you a nipple if you want one, mate. Would you like a crispy nipple? Would you? Just whap it in there.
Kipper, I'll be back for breakfast.
Wolf's nipple chips, get them when I hot. They're lovely. Jaguar's earlobe, only half a dinar. Anyway, are you doing anything, mate? Are you got anything to promote, push, whatever?
No. This is it. Nothing at all.
Okay.
Whatsoever.
Oh, you're not doing some lame acting job on the planet Avora or nothing, are you?
No, nothing like that. Although I think I might try that actually. I mean, they're obviously in need of some talent. So until that turns up, I'll fill in for them.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I might do is I might actually get you a ticket for that.
Oh God, no!
Yeah, I might do that. I might do that for your birthday.
I've got to come into London, man. Come on.
That's not your biggest problem. Trust me. Once you're there, that's not your biggest problem.
I've been to Hoxton before. Remember that? I did actually feel like Snake Plissken when I went there. I'm not joking.
Yeah. Well, like I say, that won't be your biggest problem. So, all right then. Well, there's nothing for me to promote. I mean, you're listening to it, so there you go. And that's it. So, thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And yes, we will be all back next week for Ready or Not. Until then, let's just remember the phrase ibuprofen. Take care. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Ibuprofen.
Oh, bollocks to it.